Hi, everybody. This is E12 Live. Welcome to my podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about writers. That's right. We're talking about writers. And I am definitely a writer. So, yeah. So, if you definitely like writing, poetry, if you definitely like writing music, if you definitely like writing, stories, books, like anything that you definitely like writing, much love to you. Always continue, keep writing those, great stories, because we have great stories when it comes to poetry. We have great stories when it comes to music. We have great stories when it comes to, writing books and just, doing movies and stuff like that. If you definitely like telling a story, then definitely continue, keep on doing that, because, it's good for, everybody else to pretty much, see it and enjoy it, And I always like, checking out the next person's, poetry, checking out the next person's, music. I love checking out the next person's, book, checking out the next person's, story, what they definitely do, love. And for me personally, I grew up on, poetry, and that was my first thing that I definitely started writing. Poetry was my love, and I felt like that was the love side of me, when it came to, writing, poetry. And I definitely did love it. I always put a lot of my, you know, um, everything that went on with me. I definitely had this one book that I would just write all of my poetries in, and that was just my thing. So yeah, and then from there, I moved on from writing music, and I loved writing music because I love listening to like a lot of old school music, rap, new school music. So I grew up on listening to music, and I just wanted to become that person to say, what, I enjoyed a lot of music. I want to go ahead and write my own music. So just hearing everybody else, I kind of wanted to tell my type of story when it came to writing music and giving my own good songs, and that way people can have a chance to listen and enjoy. So make sure y'all check out my E Money Music YouTube channel. All right, I got a lot of good songs. Definitely check it out. So I've been definitely getting a lot of love on my music, and I definitely do love just dropping, new music, for everybody to enjoy and listen. And that's what I love. Then it came on to, writing stories. I definitely did have this book where I definitely used to just write a lot of stories that I had like in my mind, like, things that were just going on with me. I was like, what if I had like this scenario or anything like that? Because I was a person that definitely liked to write stories. I was like a storyteller. So if you definitely, know me, I'm a storyteller. So that's just my thing. So I definitely did like writing stories, and yeah, I kind of wrote some books when I was younger, but I'll probably write some, some newer books, and I might publish them. I don't know yet, if it's, in that time, I'll definitely do it. But I did write some stories though. But I did enjoy, writing stories and just telling that, because I definitely did like watching like TV shows and movies and stuff like that. So, I was always the type of person that was like the class clown. I like to make people laugh and, and enjoy. So just having those things a part of me just made me want to just, tell stories and stuff, and just things that I went on in my life. I love just writing about it and just telling that story, So that's what I love. So I definitely want to say, shout out to everybody out there, man, that definitely loves to write, and just, shout out to everybody else out there, man, that likes checking out people's stories and that are, entertained with, people's story, always, definitely show love, you know. So yeah, if you're definitely a person that definitely likes to write poetry, continue, keep on, doing your thing and writing poetry and keep on going, keep it going, you know what I'm saying? If you definitely like writing music, definitely keep it going, write that music, and if you definitely like, writing, stories, definitely keep on writing those stories and just, blessing other people to see what you create, because you definitely, I want to say, love your work that you have done, and I love, everything that I have writing, what I'm saying? I loved it, all of my poetry, what I'm saying? No matter how it's writing. I loved all of my music, no matter how it's written, I loved it, all of my stories, no matter how it was written. And I loved it all. I loved it, all of my work, because I loved it. And it was something that was written for me, So if you definitely do like writing, definitely continue, keep on writing and just doing your thing, because love your work, because at the end of the day, there are people out there that are enjoying, looking at your stuff, and enjoying your work, So you're gonna have a lot of people that's gonna enjoy, looking at the things that you wrote, and you're gonna be, happy and blessed that people are seeing your work, And I want to say shout out to all the good writers out there. Keep on, continue writing, and definitely putting that knowledge in, that creativity, into your work, and just, giving your best, and just working hard and just giving a great story, an amazing story that a lot of people can enjoy, So every time that I wrote poetry, I would share it with my homegirls and they would enjoy it. Every time I, wrote new music and stuff like that, I would share it with my homegirls and they would love it, Every time I used to write my stories, I share with my homegirls and they would enjoy it and they would love it. They're like, wow, that's great. That's a great story, man. And it was good. So yeah, and I used to, share it with my teachers and stuff, and they would always tell me, keep the knowledge, keep writing, keep on telling those stories. Never give up your gift of writing. So yeah, and that's what I enjoy. So I take that with me, and I keep on continue writing. I keep on continue, doing what I love, because I am a poet writer. I love writing poetry, and I'm always going to keep on writing poetry. I love writing music, and I'm always going to keep on writing, music. I love telling stories, so I'm always going to keep writing, about stories. So I'm going to be doing that, because I turn my stories into songs. I turn my poetry into songs. So it's going somewhere. Somebody's out there listening to it. So yeah, and that's what it is right there. And I just love telling stories. So like I said, for all of y'all out there that definitely likes to write, definitely continue on, keep writing. And shout out to all the all the people out there that is definitely old, that has definitely been writing for a long time. Shout out to all the new writers. Shout out to y'all, I just want to say shout out to everybody out there, man, that definitely loves writing, So much love to y'all, and definitely continue on writing, giving that art, because you never know who's gonna love it. You never know who's gonna love your creativity. You never know what kind of opinion that they're gonna have on your work, because you never know. And I always love when people, look at my work and give me good comments, give me good, they say, hey, I love your work. And that's what keeps me going, That's what keeps me going, that I know I have good people out there that is, looking at my work and, being on this journey with me. So definitely keep on, continue writing, and keeping positive people around you that is loving your work. All right.